Okay, step 3 is the leadership team formation. This is where you build your team core. This could take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Um, and when you're building any leadership formation, any ministry formation, anything, you need to first identify who your core leader is going to be. So that's your action item. That's your first action item. This could take, like I said, anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Could be sooner, could be quicker. You want to take your time with this. This is important because you want to get the right team formation to make this happen. In special operations selection, there's a saying. There's a couple sayings, but one of the sayings is that we don't look for the best person. We look for the right person for the job. So you can go through Special Forces assessment and selection and pass everything and not get selected for Special Forces, for example. You can go through Delta Force and make the long walk, Delta selection, and not get selected to be a member of Delta Force or CAG, or they go by a lot of different names. Okay? But there's a point. They're not looking for the best person. They're looking for the right person. And this is very important when it comes to this ministry leadership as well. Let's look for the right person for the job. And so it starts first with the leader. Okay? The ideal profile would be a veteran who's spiritually mature. It has processed their own combat experience already and has a heart for ministry. So that's your ideal person. You find that, that's probably your leader. Sign him up, sign him or her up, and make it happen. This person should co-lead with pastoral staff and not work in isolation. They should provide training and support, but don't assume that they know how to lead a ministry. This may be completely new to them, leading a ministry. So you need to equip them, but let them be the leader of it, right? What's critical here? They should be someone who can relate to combat veterans. They should also be able to communicate effectively with church leadership. So they're the bridge. So we talked earlier in the first section of this course, we talked about how we're looking to bring two cultures together. This is the bridge between those two cultures. Okay? This is the guy or gal that can do that. Second action item under this is to recruit diverse team members. We're looking to include both veterans and non-veterans. This is how we bridge that gap, right? We want to include spouses of veterans. I touched a little bit on that in the previous section or in the previous step. Spouses of veterans go through a lot of stuff, and we want to include them. They have a lot of input and unique insight to really help the veteran community and population. If available, let's include mental health professionals. If they're available, let's do that, Include someone from the pastoral staff to ensure that the church is properly integrated. That's a key component as well. Ideally, you're looking for probably anywhere between 4 to 6 core team members. This can vary based on the size of the church or the size of the veteran population. But remember, these team members, they don't all need to be veterans, right? So understand, they're all going to bring unique skill sets and abilities to this ministry. So once you've done that, you've got your leader, you got your team established. Now let's define the roles and responsibilities. That's your next action item. You're going to do a ministry coordination. So this is where you organize events, communities. You want someone to be a ministry coordinator. You want someone to be a pastoral liaison. Sounds fancy, liaison, right? Well, that's someone who's basically just connecting to the church leadership. I represent the Veterans Ministry, and I'm connecting to the church leadership. I am the pastoral liaison. You could have a counseling coordinator. So this is someone who connects veterans to the actual professional help if needed, right? This would be help outside of the church. Or could be internally if you have a mental health professional who's willing to offer that, right? You could have a fellowship coordinator. This would be planning social connections. You could put everything in writing and have clear expectations. In the military, we call that an SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. So to keep it with veteran and military terms and culture, I'd recommend using an SOP for this. That's a little tip for you. And then the final action item for this, step 3, is to establish a meeting rhythm. Do we meet monthly? Do we have monthly team meetings? Do we have quarterly assessments of the ministry's effectiveness? Do we have annual strategic planning? Establish this. I don't know. I can't tell you what's right for your church or what's right for your ministry, but this is something that those team leaders that you established could define, and you could always adjust it later. And you also want to create a communications channel. This would be, do we do a group text? Do we do email list? Do we do whatever it might be, a Slack channel, right? An app, whatever. I don't know. I don't know what your capabilities are, but have a good way to communicate to everyone in the ministry. So why does this step 3 matter? One person cannot sustain a veterans ministry long term. What I've noticed in churches is about 10% of the population do 100% of everything. 10% of a church population does 100% of all activities and all volunteering. It's the same people all the time. And they get burnt out. Let's spread the wealth if we can. That's all we're saying here. So by providing a good team, it provides accountability, sustainability, and it also offers that diverse perspective that's going to be crucial going forward. So that's step 3. I'll move right into step 4, which is a safe space creation. So again, we've educated ourselves. We've done a gap analysis. We've built a team. We've done all these things. Now where are we going to do this ministry? This could take anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks. Could be shorter, could be longer. But this is where we design the initial gathering. See, veterans need a safe space to not only connect before they'll engage in any kind of deeper ministries, right? So we have 4 action items for this one. And it's good. Let's start with a low pressure social gathering. That's your first action item. This could be monthly breakfast. It could be coffee meetups. It could be, anything that basically it's not formal initially. It's just a time to connect, right? It could be, I would recommend a neutral location. So this could be a restaurant, a park, rather than actually in a church building initially. And then keep it limited to time, like 90 minutes. So this is people, they won't feel awkward. Most people can last about 90 minutes. An example would be like, hey, look, we're having veterans coffee at Denny's the first Saturday of the month at 08 to 09:30. So I've even spoke military time, right? So it's the bridging of the gap. We're trying to bridge the gap in everything we do, right? And that's what I'm here. This is what this training is about, is equipping you guys, right? So that's basically milestone or action item 1 for this step. Then we move into using shared activities as bonding opportunities. So this is where we can have service projects, right? Example of this might be doing a Habitat for Humanity or a community cleanup. It could be recreational. It could be a fishing trip, a shooting range, hiking, something that would entice veterans. You could do meals together, cookouts, potlucks. These are all just examples of shared activities and bonding opportunities. And then activities to tap into military culture of mission and camaraderie. That's what it's all about. Okay? That's what it's all about. Action item 3 for this is to create the communication channel. So you can do a group text. Signal, WhatsApp groups are very common and popular. Signal is very common and popular in the military community. I can tell you that for a fact. Facebook groups, it could be private, it could be closed. It doesn't need to be an open group. It could be invite only. I'm not big on social media, so that wouldn't appeal to me particularly, but everyone's different, right? There's different age groups, so you can offer multiple options potentially. You can do an email list for those that are not on social media. That would work for me. And then keep the communication veteran focused. Not just church announcements. We want those as well. But we want to be veteran focused. Maybe it's a veteran thing going on in the community this week. Maybe it's a parade. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. Whatever. I don't know. It could be completely unrelated to church. Maybe there's a veterans discount being offered for 1 week only at this location. Throw it in the community chat. Let them know. and now you're really creating that camaraderie and that team building amongst the group. So communication channels, that's the next action item. And then the final action item for this is establish group norms, right? We talked about the military culture. We talked about the church culture. Now let's establish the culture of this ministry. And that's going to be part of what we do. So an example of this would be confidentiality. What we share here in this ministry, in this group, stays only in this group, would be an example of this. Respect. Everyone's experience is valid. Doesn't matter if you're a cook. Doesn't matter if you're a janitor. Doesn't matter whatever you did. Doesn't matter if you're a gun runner, whatever. I don't know, whatever, right? Doesn't matter. Everyone's experience is valid here in this ministry. Judgment-free zone. We can, we all got stuff. Look, everyone's got baggage. Everyone's got trauma. There's a saying that says no one escapes trauma, or no one escapes childhood without trauma. It's a sad thing, but I've yet to meet someone who has. So we all have baggage. We all have stuff we come with. And just understand it's a voluntary participation. Come when you can, share when you're comfortable, whatever, right? So establish your own norms. These are examples I'm giving you. These aren't what is required, but these are examples of establishing what are the norms. And you could even post these, right? These could be posted during visible gatherings. These could be on the page of the Facebook page, whatever it is, So, look, why does this step matter? Why does this step matter? Well, I can tell you, trust is earned, not assumed. There's a saying in the military, we're required to respect the rank, but not the person. What does that tell you? Trust is earned. That individual must earn my respect. I'll respect his rank, his or her rank, all day long. Ma'am, sir, sergeant, whatever, right? But for them to garner respect individually, it must be earned. Safe spaces are where veterans can be themselves. This is without performance, without judgment. That's the foundation for everything else. We're building upon building upon building these steps, right? And when I talked about it could be cyclic, right? These are designed to be done in order. Why can it be cyclic? Well, if you have a new team, ministry's expanding, maybe someone's taking a break from the team as a team member, we need to go back to step 1 and help educate them. And then step 2, and bring them through the fold. If the ministry grows so big, maybe we have to identify how to do things differently, right? So just understand that these are step-by-step procedures, but they can also be cyclic in